welcome to the W Basketball Show. I'm your host Lucas, joined this week by Marco. Marco, how you going?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
I'm well, dude. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy equinox. Oh my god, we're actually recording at 2:22 as well.
Whoa.
On the 22nd.
Is that the middle of the day?
No, it isn't. Famously.
Is the sun at its highest point on the spring equinox?
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, equinox is Shadows Day. It's where all town planning applications draw their shadows based off the 22nd of September.
That's so funny.
You'll all be happy to hear. And you'll also all be happy to hear that it was Marco's birthday on Thursday. Yeah. Marco, dude, how are you?
It was on Wednesday, but, you know.
Oh, wow. It was on Wednesday, I'm hearing. Yeah. This just coming in. How you going, man?
Hold on just a second. I'm getting news that his birthday was actually on Wednesday.
How are you feeling? I feel like I didn't spend as much time with you on this birthday as I did last year.
Yeah, that's all right. We spent plenty of time together. Otherwise, yeah, it was good. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it this year because I got a lot of...
feedback?
I got a lot of feedback last year that I had like 5 birthday events last year.
Yeah.
I still ended up having about 3 this year. So, went out for dinner with the fam on Wednesday.
That doesn't count.
Nah, it doesn't count. We went to La Tortilleria in Kensington.
Beautiful.
So good, man.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it might be an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, you'd be correct. Then we, Friday night went and saw Mietzi Conte and one tablespoon.
Horrible FOMO.
Yeah.
As someone that tries not to FOMO, I was foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
I was, dude. Great act.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah,
both of them.
It was a really fun night, and everyone showed out, which was also classic. I got tickets. A few people got tickets. It sold out. I'm like, hey everyone, I told you to get tickets to this, but it's sold out. And I'm like, oh, no one's gonna come. And then last minute, everyone's like, oh, actually, I wanted to come all along. Can I get a ticket now?
No way. And you had spares?
No. We were just frantically on Resident Advisor resale site for 4 hours.
Yeah, and everyone got sorted?
Yeah, everyone got sorted, I think.
Not a single soul missed?
Nah, I think Bridge and Jasper decided they wanted to come maybe 15 minutes before the event started.
You make your bed at that point.
Yeah. They couldn't.
Yeah.
And yeah, but then had a good faux hung sesh last night. But you know, it's no big deal you weren't there because you were doing something much more important, weren't you, Lucas?
I don't think it was much more important.
Much?
I feel like both events.
The future of women's basketball in Australia.
Well, you've buried the lead there, Marco. Before we get into that, let's just what's on the screen. I feel like this is a huge thing of Lucas and Marco lore. Usually it was Fish Tank. I feel like it'll take us years to ever take over, you know, most things on the screen having been Fish Tank. I explained that so poorly. But we've got the Essendon Crows AFLW game on. We're at the end of the third quarter right now, and we're down 44-22. And it's just been a heartbreaking game to watch. Yeah. 2 goals on the siren against us. It's you know, it's turned a 3-goal game into a 1-goal game, and it might be insurmountable at this point.
And I think it probably playing the best we've played all season. Just good forward 50 entries, which we haven't had much of. Nanscon's just dominating in the middle. You know, Daria Bannister doing her thing. But Adelaide are just the greatest team in AFLW history. I don't think they've been bad ever. Yeah. And everyone's, I think the general consensus was they'll probably still be top 4 because they're Adelaide, but they might have a bit of a down year, and they're just not having a down year at all.
They're just so good. I don't know what else to say. They're just so good all around the ground. There's not a single part of the ground they don't look like they're in control of.
100%.
And not just coaching, but the players as well. They're just bigger, stronger, faster, better.
And I think if we hadn't already had 2 maybe regrettable losses this season, this result would be fine because it's we've actually shown up to Adelaide's home ground. Windy conditions, they're obviously one of the 4 best teams in the comp, and we're on the ascendancy, and we put up a good fight and played some good footy. But the fact that we're going to be 1-3 after today is pretty depressing. Yeah,
pills that are hard to swallow. Yeah. The St Kilda loss was the most infuriating game I've ever been to in my life. But 1-3, coming back to Windy Hill though against Melbourne. So fuck.
Who have had an awful start to the season, but probably just want to win a game against one of the bottom half teams in the league.
But no, yes, Marco, that's not why we got here today. This is the
good chat, man.
This is the W Basketball Show. Thank you for catching up with me and Marco over the first 5 minutes, and that is all we have time for. No, we're going to touch on HoopsFest, which was in Perth just this past weekend. Actually, it's still going. The NBL side of things is still going. The WNBL side of things is over now. And we're going to just do maybe more of a broad brush playoff preview in the WNBA because I don't know. I think we might agree that the first round already looks over.
Yeah.
Having 0 games played so far. Yes. But yeah, where do you want to start, Marky?
Well, I don't know. Just tell us about HoopsFest. So you were working there on behalf of WNBL as their sort of comms and social media guy.
Yeah.
Watching all the games, sometimes 2 games at the same time, which is like an insane ask.
Yeah.
For you to be doing from your bedroom / your housemate's beach house in Torquay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like tell us what the event was like, and then I guess what your experience was like individually.
So the event was the WNBL side of things. They ran kind of a mini tournament, but at this point, mid-late September, most teams haven't really started. They haven't gotten all their players together yet.
Yeah.
Not even close to getting all their players together. It's almost like a pre-season tournament. So I'd say 5 of the teams just sent development teams, and then 3 teams would have sent maybe 3, 4, 5 WNBL players each.
Yeah.
That was Southside, Perth, and Bendigo sent a couple. But yeah, good opportunity for teams to see how their like development programs are going, and to just see like I don't know how to explain it, but just like the culture of basketball that they're building at their club. Is it just about the most important players, or is it an actual system where every level is supporting the next? And so the WNBL ran a little tournament. Points for the tournament was very strange. It was a point for every quarter won, half a point for each quarter drawn, 2 points if you drew the game, or is it 1 point if you drew the game, and 3 points if you won the game. And then whoever ended on the most amount of points after playing 2 games won $10K, and each player got a Foot Locker voucher. Nice. Shout out. And yeah, it was good. It was an interesting event to watch because there was so many dynamics happening at the same time, and also like enough Aussie Opals and Gangaroos and Olympians that there was, the top end talent. It was cool to see the elite of the elite compete and just see how classy they are. And then also cool to see like Sydney's Future Flames program, how they played. The Canberra Capitals, I don't know if they were fully comprised of Centre of Excellence players, but I think they were, and they're just elite. And it's cool. It's such a good snapshot into how good basketball is in Australia.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was a fun experience. As a viewer, which I didn't really get too much time to watch it as a viewer, it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And like a good, rather than being like an indicator of like what this WNBL season is going to be like, it's like, oh, okay, like what's the state of basketball?
Yeah.
Of women's basketball in Australia. It's really interesting. I didn't think about it like that, where like, like the Sydney Flames thing you said, the Centre of Excellence, then versus somewhere like Geelong United that formed like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Like the sort of continuity of their programs and the young players they have at their disposal.
Yeah. And like most of Geelong's top players did. I think maybe one player that made the final roster made it. It was such a blur, man. Which will get straight onto the work I was doing. So I was doing like during the games. So I had all this like stuff I do every day, like post who's playing today, send notifications to the app, and a ladder. And that was all fine and dandy. That was in the morning. That was kind of exciting to do. Maybe exciting is not the right word, but that was like that was a bit more calm.
Yeah.
The first game would start. The first hour of the first game was awesome, super fun, exactly what I wanted. It was like cool. Keep an eye on this game. Write an article. Do a halftime post on socials, and then do a full-time graphic. But then there was like a half hour, maybe 45-minute period where the second game would start while the first game was still going. And it was just twice the amount of work.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I thought it would be like, cool, I just get this engine running that'll do 70% of the work. And then every game on top of that will be a little bit more work on top of that. Now, it was 100% for game 1, 100% for game 2, 100% for game 3. So the second game would finish, and I honestly couldn't tell you what happened in that 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, the graphic was posted. The fans were informed as to what was happening. An article was written, varying in quality. Actually, I can tell you exactly. The first article was fine, 2 paragraphs. Second article, okay. Third article for the third game, I was just so exhausted by the time the end of the third game came around. So sorry to any fans of the teams that were tipping up at the 9:30 Australian Eastern time slot. But that's a little peek behind the kimono for what I was doing. But yeah, it was non-stop. It was great experience. It was awesome. It was cool to open up Instagram and just the WNBL account, and like you see,
Lauren Elizabeth Jackson is reacting to
Lauren Elizabeth liked your post. There were a lot of cool parts about it, and it was a lot of work and it was a lot of fun, and I think I appreciated the work the next day to see like how many people would engage with it, and it's like, oh cool, this is my passion, and it's getting such a response, and you see the value in it the next day. But when it's happening, there's no like, I can't remember anything. I can't pinpoint one memory from when everything was going on.
I think it's really interesting because like I'm living with 2 ABC radio journalists at the moment. I'll be living with them. Yeah, that's apropos of nothing. But like, Ollie will come home and be like, oh, we had a really good show on today. Like, we had, like, this person and this person and this person. I'm like, oh, yeah, like, what was, like, the discussion about? He's like, I have no idea, man. I was just doing shit the entire hour that it was going. And then also, like, you being like, oh, I was so frantic. I was so exhausted. But, like, everything you put out, if I didn't know you had been doing it, I would be like, oh, it's just, like, the WNBL Instagram account and socials and news and everything just ticking over like it usually does. Like, media is so seamless to the consumer. But like even when something crazy's going on behind scenes, like you're having to cover 3 games in the space of 2 games. So yeah, good work, I guess, is the summary of that.
It's nice to hear that it just seemed like everything was going business as usual. The last thing that I fully underestimated was, let's call it like 6 hours of work between 5:15 and 11:15 p.m, which is less than the work day usually is, but it was non-stop those 6 hours. And also just like the lifestyle change of starting, let's call it work, starting work after I usually finish work. 5:15 is about 45 minutes after I finish work, and then I have to get into work mode, and it was like, oh wow. I feel like if I was more prepared for like the like everyday side of things, then maybe that side of things would have been a bit easier. But yeah, awesome experience.
No, that's awesome.
And congratulations to the Townsville Flyers.
Well, were there any other standouts, sort of player or team wise that spring to mind from the fest?
Well, Monique Babongi should go be first and foremost. Another player, couldn't tell you what happened, but dropped 38 points and then like made the graphic, and I was like, oh shit, she had a fucking unbelievable game. And yeah, like there was just so many players where I was like, I'd make the graphic and like look them up, and they'd be like 16 or 17. It was like proper development. It wasn't like 18, 19. It was like juniors. I'd say Monique Babongi, Michaela Perini for Townsville. I think she shot, what was it? I think she was 9 of 11 from 3 or 9 of 12 from 3 over the tournament. Oh my God. Just awesome. Such a good shooter. Annalie Maley had a great game. She only played the second game. Ellie Wilson only played the first game. But it was really interesting to see the competitor in her come out in the second game, I think, against Southside. Southside were handling them quite easily. And it was just cool to see someone that's elite be like, oh, I'm just going to try and win and almost do it. But I think the coach, Ryan Petrick, I think he was like, let's, you got to... Oh, hang on. I got to pause this. Good news, bad news about AFLW. Good news, goal celebrations. Bad news, the length of the goal celebrations. I love all the individual player goal celebrations, but like, it's got to be quicker. Some of them have way too many components.
They're doing like the multi-part handshakes, but like individually. Goal celebrations. And it's like,
and then they have like 6 to do with other players. But Annalie Maley, yeah, it seemed like a case of the coach being like, she's not going to stop herself. I need to stop her. She was like playing a bit hurt. She was wearing a strap around her stomach. I don't know exactly what the injury was, but yeah, it was just cool to see. Like, that's how good WNBL players are, because when they play against each other, it's like, oh, you know, Team X hasn't scored in 4 minutes. Yeah. But then you see any of them in isolation against like development players, it's like, oh, you gain such an appreciation for how good they are.
Yeah. There's much more of a gradient of skill than you realize.
Yeah. But that's that. That's that on that for HoopsFest.
Yeah, nice, man.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about the WNBA?
The NBA moves so quickly these days, it's hard to keep up. Shams and Woj are breaking stories left and right, but the Quick Time Out is right there with them to keep you informed on the latest NBA news. Stop in and let us break it down as it happens. Find the Quick Time Out on the Deep 2 Podcast Network.
Let's talk about the WNBA. The WNBA. First of all, this season. So I was so locked in up until the Olympic break. And then in the Olympic break, I was so locked into the Olympic basketball. And then since the Olympic break, I've followed along so much more passively.
Yes.
And I thought it would have the reverse effect.
Yeah.
Like it would get me fully G'd up for it. But I don't know, it was like kind of a disruption. And I guess we're on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And it's not like this isn't our full-time gig for anyone that thought it was. It was so weird. I thought it'd be seamless. But now I feel like the end of the season and going into the playoffs is a nice little buffer to, get back into things.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, the players might agree with you as well, Lucas, because like the form of every team was affected by, the Olympic break. Like in the e.g. the Aces, who had 4 of their starters playing for Team USA, came out 2-4. The Lynx I think they went 13-2 from the Olympic break, which is just insane.
Man, every single time you'd get every morning I'd open up Insta and Bridget Carlton would reshare Lynx win. Yeah. Lynx win every single morning.
Then Seattle Storm getting Gabby Williams back, which is a pretty huge addition.
Yeah.
Didn't help them put together like an insane run of form, but like it'll be very impactful to the playoffs. It was it had an interesting effect on the season, I think. Yeah.
And so our first round matchups, they're here now. Did you know the playoffs presented by Google again this year? For 1-8 matchup, New York Liberty versus the Atlanta Dream. 2-7, the Minnesota Lynx versus the Phoenix Mercury. 3-6, the Connecticut Sun versus the Indiana Fever. 4-5, the Las Vegas Aces versus the Seattle Storm. The JVG Bowl.
Yeah, or the W Basketball Show Bowl.
Oh, true, the W Bowl.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start with this one? Should we start at the W Bowl?
Yeah.
No, where do you want to start?
No, let's start there. Let's start there, because I think this is... I mean, the 4-5 matchup should always be the most interesting matchup. But
it should always be the closest.
But in a season where the top 5 was just always a step ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
The 4-5 is going to be super competitive. However, the Aces, we've had super up and down year, but we've hit a nice run of form coming into the end. We weren't really, weren't able to spring out of the 4th seed, but I think we'd be pretty happy with where we are. That not having Chelsea Gray at the beginning of the season, we just looked so directionless, so rudderless, and then she just hasn't been the same player since she came back. Jackie Young hasn't had the same shooting form because she's been having to do so much more playmaking.
Yeah.
Our defense has sometimes been league best, and sometimes it's been a complete disaster. But then Asia Wilson, she's had maybe the best WNBA season of all time.
But then Asia Wilson, man, single season record for points, single season record for rebounds. Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, leading the league in blocks, 4th in steals.
Insane.
Just somehow getting better and better and better, playing more minutes than she's played in her whole career, averaging 34 minutes a game during the regular season. Probably not what you want your best player to do, but she missed 1 game.
Yeah. Was it the last game as well?
It was second. Oh, it would be 2 then, because she sat out against Liberty with an ankle injury.
Yeah.
And then everyone set out our last game because the seating was locked up. So like it's pretty hard to be down on the Aces in this first round matchup, I think, because we are in such good form. We have such good playoff performers. But like, the Storm, they're not slouches. You have so much talent. Maybe like there's still a lot of chemistry to be made between these players.
Yeah.
And like it might be next season that all has to come together. But like, you have so much talent and you've added Gabby Williams to it.
Yeah. Look, I'm probably a bit more negative on the Storm, having followed them for a few years now and seeing them this year. Why are there chemistry issues? It's the playoff. The playoffs are tomorrow. The playoffs are tomorrow. I think less than 24 hours away. Why are there chemistry issues still? Like, you're bringing in the playoff view. You brought in Skylar Diggins-Smith and Nneka Ogwumike, and like, should they not just come in and just bring everyone together? Yeah. Like, these two players that are in their mid-30s are part of the furniture in the WNBA. Seriously, like, just faces of the league. Should they not be like the two most galvanizing players that come in and just support Jewel Lloyd and Ezi Magbegor? And, I feel like Jewel Lloyd had an inefficient season by her standards. I haven't checked the numbers in a little while. But I feel like,
and 36 and 27.
And you just you still feel confident with her shooting the ball in a playoff series. You still, if she's the number one option in the offense, I'm still happy with the team doing that. Maybe that's not on Diggins, Smith, and Nneka, but like, I don't know. This team had a real chance to be like the Vibes team, and they just weren't. And I just think that.
Kind of opposite as well. Like, like it wasn't. I don't want to say it was a bad vibe, but it was just like, this just isn't like.
There's no vibe.
Yeah.
And I think coming up against the Aces, who are all vibe, and like, I'm sure, is everyone healthy coming into the playoffs? Have we had? Is this our third playoff series in the last 3 or 4 years?
Last 4.
Yeah. And you've won all of them. Yeah. And I think it's about to be again. You're gonna win another one. And I think it's going to be a sweep. I don't really see the avenue for the Storm winning a game. Bringing in Gabby Williams is a great signing for any WNBA team. She definitely makes every WNBA team better. But I think this most previous off-season shouldn't have been about trying to win this year for the Storm. It should have been about making the team that Ezi and Jewel Lloyd win a championship win with next. And that isn't two 34, 33-year-olds when the Liberty are this good, when the Aces have a bad season and they're still finishing above you. And, I hate to be a Nostradamus about the Minnesota Lynx, but like when the Lynx are obviously getting so much better. The Lynx, Alana Smith is the signing you make this most previous offseason, not Nneka.
Yeah. Who's been the more like impactful for? Like, yeah.
So I'm not feeling great about the Storm, long term and short term.
Yeah. Well, I think that's completely fair. But at the beginning of the season, it's like you've signed 2 extremely toolsy, versatile superstars to your team. Like you're a team with like a historically good ecosystem and with 2 fantastic franchise cornerstones. And I think Ezi's been elite. Like she took that step up this year. Absolutely.
You could see it at the Olympics, man. Oh my God.
I do think I do think you're going to struggle in this series. I'm also predicting a sweep. Our offense is just more potent than yours. Your defense is really good, but like there's just only so much you can do against the Aces. Like at a certain point against Las Vegas, like you have to outscore them. Like you have to find a way to like put threes up. And like I think in our 3 wins against you this season, I've got this good stat. We outscored you 66-27 from beyond the arc. Like that's just an insane differentiator.
God damn, man. And like in the playoffs, you have we're not breaking any news here, but like the Aces, you can't guard. Maybe I still wouldn't want to guard Chelsea Gray one-on-one. There's 4 players I wouldn't want to guard one-on-one. And there's the old adage about playoffs is that you got to give up something. And it's like you guys have a lot you can give up. Like there's a lot on the Storm side of things where you're like, we're happy for. I'm a big Jordan Horston fan, but she's still quite young. we're happy to give Jordan Horston a bucket, this shot, or
Yeah.
like even Ezzy. You know, I feel like Ezzy doesn't want to be the number one bucket scorer.
Yeah.
So if you want to like try and make her that, you can make her that. But on the other side of the coin, all of your players are happy to shoot 20 shots a game or 4.
Yeah.
And they're genuinely thrilled to do either thing. So I just think I don't unless we have a crazy shooting night, which as you said, you outscored us 33-27 in those games from 3. Unless you have an incredible shooting night, I don't see a single win. I don't see one win.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, because as Chelsea's definitely like coming back from an injury, she's just not the same player. But yeah, you don't want to bet against her in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be like, well, let's force Chelsea Gray to take 20 mid ranges because once it's the bright lights, they're probably going in.
Yeah. Once she decides, she'll score.
My only concern, probably not in this series, but in the playoffs more generally, is like still haven't figured out who like our 5th starter is. Kia Stokes, like I love what she does for the team, but like she is that player who like, you know, teams will be like, all right, fine, Kia Stokes, put up more than 3 shots this game.
Yeah.
And it'll just kill our offense for like enough time to lose the game. Megan Gustafson's been good, but like I think like there's still a lot of holes in her game. If we go in with, you know, if we go in with Alicia Clark as our 5th starter, then it's like we're just so short. Like you know, Jackie and her at the 4, like that's just a tiny team that's gonna get dominated, but because you know the 3 teams above us just have so much skill and size in the front court. Yeah, like they all have an elite 4 and an elite 5 basically. So yeah, that's my only concern going into the playoffs. More generally,
Kia, I don't know how much more I've got in me, Coach Stokes. That's what it feels like. And also they've got like really big players as well. I know that's like quite reductive, but like even as good as and all the tools that Gustafsson and Stokes bring to the team, like Jonquel Jones is just huge, and like the Lynx have enough players that are 6'4", that just like and are such quality. Like bring in Maisha Hines-Allen as well, who's not 6'4", but she's the 4th big now. And then Uhas is huge, and then Smith and Collier both 6'4". And then I mean the Sun. And as we said, not to bury the lead, but I feel like should we move up the ladder now?
Yeah.
So this Connecticut Sun Indiana Fever 3-6 matchup. This is maybe the only one I think the lower seed can win a game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
and I think again it's purely like a pride thing. I feel like the Fever would find a way to get a win, and they do. Caitlin Clark.
They do have her.
They do have the ability though to score threes. Like hit a bunch of threes. But like the Sun are so good, and the Sun are built. The Sun are built for this time of the year. I can't wait to see fucking DeWanna Bonner and Alyssa Thomas and Brianna Jones, see how they run in the playoffs. But yeah, what are you looking forward to in this series?
Yeah, like I think this will be such a good watch, just because. Well, just like the Fever are just always fun to watch, especially when Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, Boston, like when they're all connecting with each other, it's the funnest offense in the NBA. And like they're in the WNBA. Oh my Jesus Christ.
NBAW.
And like so in their last matchup, the Fever managed to beat the Sun, and it was purely through like just absolutely lights out shooting. I think a couple of heaves went in as well. But also really interesting. Like the Fever have had at times like one of the most frustrating defenses to watch. But like they really matched the Suns' intensity in that game. Like even if they couldn't sort of match them in execution defensively, it's like, just so you know, if you play the Connecticut Sun, they're gonna hassle you everywhere on the court. Do that to them on the other end. Like make them feel what they're making you feel. And then like the Sun would only get back into the game by like by getting like 4 fast breaks in a row, because Fever also just love turning the ball over.
Oh, love it.
Just like addicted to it. So I think that's what will make it interesting, is like all it will take is like a good shooting and a miserly with the Rock Knight from the Fever, and there's a good chance that they could win one of these games.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Sun are just they're such a system, they're such a machine. Adding Marina Mabrey as well has just like, you're like, oh, now I feel like they could have like an upside offense. Like now I feel like the offense could carry them in a game rather than, you know, the defensive intensity, and, you know, getting out in transition, etc. Now I feel like, like Mabrey could just shoot 5 of 10 from 3 and win them the game. So yeah, like I want to say Sun in 3 for this, but
it's best of 3 for the first round. Sun in 2. Oh, Sun in 3. Oh, you're saying Sun.
Well,
in 3.
I want to say that, but
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Like, I want to say it because I do feel like you said, this is the one where the lower seed can steal a game, but like, it would be so easy for them to just run over this inexperienced team.
In basketball, I feel like you can like win a game on offense or on D.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Sun can win on intangibles.
Like so true.
Like not like I could imagine the Sun winning a basketball game where they allow 0 shots to be taken, and then they shoot once and score. But yeah, we're saying that we have this big spiel about the Fever maybe getting 1 win. That's the best case scenario if everything goes according to plan. But yeah, the Sun just have this system. They're awesome to watch. Keen to see Breonna Jones in the playoffs. I'm just keen to see the way they go. Dejanay Carrington, I mean, it has to be most improved, right? Like I don't know who else is in the conversation. But she's been
crazy. They just got 2 of their bench players from last season. Like, you're starting guards now.
Yeah, I think that goes to the system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Stephanie White, unbelievable coach. Unbelievable, elite coach. And they just put it all together. This is going to be an interesting one to watch. I feel like the Lynx from a season ago earned the first round loss to the Connecticut Sun. And look at what it's turned them into. And I feel like there are some parallels with the Fever and the Lynx. Yeah. I think the Fever are a little bit more fresh than the Lynx. I think the Lynx were much more established last season. Yeah. I think it was
a slight, might have been 1 season longer, but it was a longer build up to who they are this season.
And Collier is still, you know, a cut above the Fever's best player in Clark. Yeah. And then players 2 through 6. 2 through 7 or 8 for Mini are probably better than players 2 through 6 or 7, or 7 or 8, whatever I said, for the Fever. But you know, there are lessons to be learned for getting dismantled by Alyssa Thomas. And if you're a good basketball team, you'll take those lessons into next season.
100%. Caitlin Clark, 22. How old is she? 22. Nafisa Collier, 27. Her birthday's tomorrow. She's 23rd of September, 1996.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
I'm 5 days older than her. That's what I'm saying.
Got that, Nafisa.
I'm just trying to make a timeline comparison and be like, all right, well, if the Indiana Fever are as good as the Minnesota Lynx were last season, next season, they're way ahead of schedule.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But then it was more interesting that me and Nafisa Collier are born within 5 days of each other.
Yeah. And then what's Caitlin Clark? She's the 22nd of Jan, isn't she?
Yeah, something
2002?
God.
And then she wears number 22.
Yeah.
That's right.
God.
I reckon there's something in that.
Legend.
So, climbing up the ladder, should we move on over to the Lynx Mercury? So, Minnesota Lynx versus Phoenix Mercury is the 2-7 matchup. And I think this is just you know what? I can see the Mercury winning a game just off getting the best out of everyone on the same night. Yeah. But the Lynx are just so good. Yeah. They are firmly, I know that they finished second and that should mean that they're the second best team. But, you know, sometimes the record lies a little bit. They are seriously right there with the New York Liberty. I feel like with the way they've progressed this season, I feel like they'll probably be thinking of anything less than a finals appearance as, you know, a failure.
Definitely.
Which is crazy, which is awesome for them.
Again, this isn't maybe reflected by their record or their place in the standings, but they feel like the team that's best at winning games. They might have won the most of them, but when they win, you're like, of course they were going to win that. They knew exactly how they were going to win that game, and they went and did it. I think this will be... I think even if there's a lack of competitiveness results-wise, it's going to be so much fun to watch because in the Mercury's last home game of the season, DT was basically like, this is probably the last time I'm playing in Phoenix. This is my last home game. So she's just going to be playing her socks off. And, when one of the best players in WNBA history is having a swan song, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think the Mercury have had a bit of the, maybe a similar thing with Seattle, where it's you've got these you've got so much talent on this roster, and it just hasn't quite come together. I think they are in a different spot with the ages of Taurasi and Griner, but again, you do feel like this team should be a few wins better, given that they had Carly Copper and Natasha Cloud on the team.
Yeah. Again, I might have jumped the gun early with Dejanay Carrington, but Carly Copper could almost have been most improved player as well. Based off what she was doing at the start of the season, her numbers were insane.
Yeah.
Had they they smoothed out a bit, but she was averaging 25 points for a little while there. But they do still have Carly Copper, and Natasha Cloud, and Brittany Griner,
who've been there so many times before as well.
So again, it's one of those things where if they all have a good game at the same time, then who's to say they can't win one?
Are those 4 championship players? Have they all won rings? Has Griner won a...
Great question.
Because
surely
Natasha Cloud would have won one with
the Mystics.
And we know Carlo Copper's on one, and we know that Taurasi is. 2014 Griner won one.
Hang on, I want to get up this that Mystics championship team.
My god, such a good roster.
I feel like maybe I shouldn't do this live, but I am.
Nah, do it, man.
Just bear with us, listener. Here we go.
It'll be worth it.
Elena Deladon, Emma Messerman.
Oh my
fucking
god.
Hell. What do you do? What do you do if you play those two? What do you do?
Yeah. Wow, crazy that, and it's all no one's on the Mystics anymore. Oh wait, Ari Larkin's still there.
Yeah.
Ari Larkin's still there. Wow.
But that was. I guess it was only 5 years ago.
That's a generational.
I wonder how they won.
Roster construction. Maybe by having 2 top 5 MVP candidates on the same team.
Man, that would have been elite. Messerman and Deladon. This is I think this is the border of when we started following the WNBA.
Yeah.
God, fuck. You got to get into it, man. You might miss out on that season.
You don't know what you're gonna miss.
All right. Any parting words on the Merc?
Nah. I really think it'll be a sweep, this one as well. Yeah.
And the next series. Need we talk about this one? Let's. Okay. So Liberty into.
Yeah.
What are the Dream need to take out of this series?
Well, I genuinely think they'd be pretty happy to be here, given how much time 2 of their best players missed this season. Ryan Howard missed first 10 games, and I think Jordan Cannon missed almost half the season as well. So for a team who probably you even going into this season, you'd have to say that at the very best they were hoping for the 6th seed. And so to get the 8th seed is you're probably fine with that. So just go in and like you said, like losing to Alyssa Thomas is a huge learning experience. Just gain as much experience as you can from losing to a team of WNBA legends.
I guess maybe learn what you need to add in the off season. And I think maybe get a bit more of a get more of a test on what Cheyenne Parker looks like against an incredible front court in a playoff series. Because I think she had a down year this year. She had a down year this year off of last season, but she was just incredible. But yeah, I think see what the next step needs to be and see what that looks like against the best in the league. And this, you need to develop. They drafted Izzy Boles and Nadia Poch last season, so hopefully they go over. And that that player development's important, considering how young their core is. But you do need to make some signings, and I think that's what you might want to learn from this series.
Yeah. Because also, they went into the season with like pretty good roster. They signed Tina Charles, who somehow at age 35, after it feels like no one's gonna sign her at the end of every season as well. Yeah, averaged 15 and 10.
Dude, she's just not gonna stop doing that as well.
Yeah.
Unless she announced her retirement. Or was that that might have been Natasha Howard, or maybe Natasha Howard left the Wings. Either way. Also, Atlanta Dream, Aussie basketball fans. They have Hayley Jones, who signed with Geelong United.
Mm-hmm.
She played every game this season, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep an eye out on her.
Yeah. And the Liberty, like, I think they just have to look at this as a rhythm to games.
Yeah, find your shot.
Yeah. Because they've had like a bit of, like, you know, as soon as it had become apparent they locked up the first seed, like, they kind of did switch off for the last 4 games of the season. Like, you know, and like, you can't blame them. Like,
yeah,
like
they've done the work.
When you've played a whole stellar season of WNBA, a lot of your squad's been at the Olympics, etc. Like, you can't really be pissed off that they did that. But yeah, they're looking so much more. What's the word?
Better.
But like, compared to last season, they look more settled. They look more tranquil. They look like when they're out there, they like know exactly what they're doing. Everyone knows exactly where everyone else is. Whereas the season before was like, we're still figuring out and stepping on each other's toes. Their role players are just like so good as well. Leonie Firbic, sixth player of the year maybe. And yeah, so I think this one is just like, just make sure you're ready for the next matchup.
Yeah. Keep the engine running.
Because the next matchup's going to be really hard.
Well. Round 2. The round 2 preview will be like, we might have a party. But yeah, they've got like a different like posture about them this year.
Yeah.
They like, last season it was like, all right, let's see what we got here. There was a show. I think they were all part of the show a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas this season they go into games like, let's make the other team not enjoy this game. And it's like completely unspoken, and they just dominate.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to see. And yeah, I can't wait to see them in a series against a good team.
Yeah.
That'll be really interesting.
The next round might be the best second round since we started following it.
Man, it could be the best round of finals across any sport. Like, this most recent AFL finals round was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That round 2 of the WNBA playoffs this season, like, man, that could be like the best week and a half to 2 weeks of basketball.
Yeah. Like the Liberty, who have, as you said, just looked like cruel bullies in the way that they've won games this season, will have to play the Aces, who could just win.
They could just have them on just like on the just like the older sibling thing.
Yeah.
They might just have their number.
Yeah. And then the Minnesota Lynx, who've had just like the funnest, most entertaining ascendancy, have to play like the most annoying playoff team in the league.
Yeah, the most annoying playoff team who sent them home last season.
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll see you in the second round, dude.
Yeah. So guys, do watch the first round, please.
Yeah, just so you know what's happening. Just so you have a little bit of context for the second round.
Yeah. Look at it like that. It's kind of it's a warm up.
Yeah, it's a palate cleanser. No, not a palate cleanser. Entree.
An entree.
My mind got a palate cleanser first. All right. Well, Marco, lovely chatting.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
And
I'll speak to you pretty soon about this women's basketball thing.
Yes. Goodbye.